good?
Yeah, what's up,
All
man?
right.
Got
Tony, man.
got the first podcast, man.
First podcast. Got a lot to unpack here. Got a lot of good conversation
Oh
I think
yeah,
you
for
and I are going to
sure.
have. And let's get into it. We got an hour and a half to unpack all this stuff we want to talk about. I think there's probably no better person I could have these conversations with than someone like yourself, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like my family members, my friends, I'm the guy they go to, to work out, talk to,
Yep.
you know. I like to spit good knowledge to people.
Yep. I like that. Likewise here. And, that's why I wanted you on here to talk about some of these topics because a lot of these topics we're going to unpack here, not a lot of people want to talk about them, man. Not a lot of people want to talk about them, or they're just not very knowledgeable in them because they don't want to do some of these things, or they're not exposed to some of this information like
Yeah.
you and myself here.
Yeah, most definitely. I will say, like when I talk to my family members or especially my peers, they look at it as like it's a speech,
Mm-hmm.
but really it's something you need to hear.
It is.
So if I really care about you, got love for you, I'm gonna tell you what you need to hear to help you progress mentally.
Yeah,
'Cause
and I
that's
think
more important.
100%. That's a big one. A lot of people nowadays, especially for whatever reason, want to tell people what they should hear, or they just want to sugarcoat information if they have
Yeah.
a problem or something instead of actually telling them what they need to hear. That tough love kind of thing, and that's what a lot of people aren't ready to hear.
Yeah, for sure. It's called accountability, really. A lot of people get uncomfortable because I ain't gonna lie to you, it don't feel good, hearing what you need to hear.
It don't.
But after a while, once you really understand it, it's like, okay, I don't like, the situation I'm in, or I don't like the information I receive from another person, but I'm gonna actually look into it, just to see. So that's a part of accountability.
Yeah, and I think self-accountability is a huge one. I think people don't take as much self-accountability as they need to nowadays, and this could go for any problem. A lot of
Yeah.
people don't want to sit there and look themselves in the mirror and be like, what can I take away from this? What can I change about myself to
Yeah.
actually make my life situation or whatever situation it is better? Everybody just kind of wants to blame everybody else for their situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, instead of really looking at themselves, like for example, I fell victim to it plenty of times. My parents they taught to me about how important accountability is. That's how you really grow as a person, as an individual. Especially the people around you. If they take accountability and do what they supposed to do, just like yourself, you grow as a whole.
Mhm.
So most definitely.
Yeah, and that's something I didn't even really learn growing up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I used to be that person who would play victim to my circumstances or the way I
Yeah.
grew up or the things that I had happen to me instead of looking in the mirror and actually changing. And it took, because a lot of people ask me how I changed or how I started thinking this way. And it was a very conscious effort. Like,
Yeah.
taking self accountability is like what you said. You don't like to hear it at first. It makes you feel like really uncomfortable.
Makes
When
you
you
feel
feel
like
called
shit.
out by some shit,
Yeah.
you're like, ooh, that kind of hits close to home. But I think after a while, for the people who don't like to take self accountability, after a while, it just gets to a point where you're super uncomfortable with your situation and you have
Yeah.
to change.
For sure. That I would agree. Accountability is, like I said, it's most definitely uncomfortable. And at the time when I didn't understand accountability, I felt offended. I felt
Mhm.
like this person was attacking me. I felt like you was wrong. Like, no, that's not me. No, no, no. I was like this because of you. I was like that because of this happened. It's like, okay, well, at some point I'm gonna have to be like, it's me. Say if I'm not in the wrong, I still put myself in the situation. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it was something that happened to me a few years ago, right? I wasn't in the wrong. Like I didn't do anything wrong, but I was around the people that did, the aggressive stuff, what got me in trouble. So I had to really sit back and think, like, you know what? Even though they was on some bull crap or whatever, I was around that. I could have, with my own two legs, walk away, and I would never got in trouble. So I feel like that really taught me how to take accountability.
Yeah, and I think something that I've learned lately and I'm still continuing to learn is that just because something happened to you or you're around someone like that or someone does something to you, it might not be your fault per se that
Yeah.
said thing happened, but it's
Yeah.
always your responsibility to react to the situation, how you feel about the situation. And I think that's a big thing that people don't realize is they want to play victim to a situation that happened in their life,
Yeah.
even though it wasn't necessarily their fault that they were born a certain way or somebody did something to them or they were treated a certain way. It's their responsibility moving forward. And that's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people because
Yeah.
a lot of people, like I said, they have some type of trauma
Yeah.
in their childhood, or somebody treats them the wrong way. And, you know, it's super easy to just sit there and blame someone else or something else
Mm-hmm.
for why you are not where you want to be in life. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people, you know, they want to get to certain places in life, or maybe they don't. But a lot of times I find, especially being someone who posts on social media often,
Yeah.
people don't want to actually change. People just want to blame their situation, and they kind of aspire to be someone different or to
Yeah.
do something different. But they're like, you know what? This happened to me as a child, or this person treated me like this.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it.
And I will say, like, it's a few people I ran into. You know, I truly believe that it's certain people that do want to change, but at the same time, it's like they just want to wake up and be a different person. And that's what makes me be like, yeah, you saying it, and I feel like to a certain extent you want to change, but you just don't like. They don't like the road that comes with it. You know, it's tough.
100%.
It's tough. That's the whole point of self growth. You got to go through certain obstacles. You know, and once you overcome it, that builds character.
Yeah, and I
You
think
know.
people, we kind of spoke about this briefly, is like I look back to my personal life and people I know, every bad time in life, man,
Yeah.
is where you see the most growth. I look back to every shitty time in my life where I thought I was never going to feel better, or I
Yeah.
thought just nothing was going to change. I look back now being out of it and I'm like, I learned so much from that situation happening. So a lot of times, and whether that was whether I put myself in that situation to feel that way, or
Yeah.
whether life happened to me and I just got dealt the wrong hand of cards.
Yeah.
Growth, in my opinion, comes from the bad times in life and actually having to face those bad times and not
Yeah.
be, you know, it
100%.
hurts, and it hurts doing that. It hurts
Yeah.
wanting to change like that, but I think that's just a pill not a lot of people are ready to swallow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like sometimes, you know, bad things get forced on you. You know, bad things get forced on you, you know, and I look at it as a blessing, honestly, cuz we back. Yeah, really, I would say it may sound crazy, you know, to other people, but whoever's on our same type of time mentally, they will understand that, you know, the bad things that, you know, happen to you, it's a blessing, you know, because you got an opportunity to overcome it. It's either gonna make you or break you. And a lot of times I just think that, you know, people understand the sayings of it, but they don't really, you know, want to go through the true meaning of it. You know what I'm saying? So that make and break situation is like an opportunity for potentially a new life or a new mindset. Cause like you said earlier, like perspective, it's all about the perspective, you know? Life is all up here.
No, it really is. I like to say, and a lot of people
Yeah.
disagree with me, that I'd say 99% of people's problems are strictly mental. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people's problems aren't even necessarily physical problems that are just, you know, there and they can't get over them. A lot of the times it's just the way you view the problem or the way
Yeah.
your perspective is on said problem. Like you said, like going through bad times and being able to overcome that for growth. Two things of that. One, that's what makes me feel truly happy.
Yeah.
You know, you go through some shitty times in life and you
Yeah.
overcome that on your own.
For sure.
That has longevity to it. That makes you feel good that you got through that and got over that. And also, to couple with that, a lot of times if you didn't go through something bad like that,
Yeah.
you wouldn't have had the life you are now.
Right.
Like, think back to all the bad times in your life, and I can do the same thing for myself.
Yeah.
If said thing didn't happen, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to go here, talk to this person, meet
sure.
him, meet her, you know, and ultimately make me where I am, you know, in life today.
Yeah.
But if you have something bad happen to you and you just want to crumble to it and say, oh, this happened because, and just start complaining, well, you're
Yeah.
never going to grow. And then that's why you have people that, you know, I meet a lot of people who are much older than me,
Yeah.
30, 40, and I'm like, well, you just didn't overcome anything. I can tell you just haven't grown up.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Because I've
Yeah,
also met younger
for
people
sure.
than me who have gone through things and overcame them.
Yeah.
And I'm only 21, so I've met people younger than me, and I'm like, man,
See.
you've been through it. I can tell you get over things on your own.
Yeah, most definitely, man. It's I'm glad you mentioned the age, because like age really does not matter. And like you said, it's the older people who it's people who stuck, you know, at mentally 16, 17 in
High
their 30s.
schoolers.
Yeah, high school
They're
mentality.
grown up high schoolers.
Seriously, man. It's like I believe if you like genuinely gave yourself a chance, everybody could overcome whatever they go through. no matter what it is. So that's why I try to, talk to my peers and let them know, like, whatever you go through, it happens for a reason, and you can overcome it if you give yourself the chance. And you have to truly believe you could get over it. And as I said in the last episode, you cannot let anything temporary hold you back, because your problem today that you're going through, 5 years later, you're not gonna go through the same thing. It's always gonna be problems in life. As long as you live, you're gonna go through something. So every little problem, you can't let stuff break you down, because it's gonna keep coming up on and on and on. It's gonna build. It's gonna be a build up.
I love that, man. And I truly believe that people always ask me, Jason, are you happy? Do you feel happy?
Oh yeah.
And maybe
Let's
at a
get to
set
that.
time, like
Yeah.
today, right now, happy. I mean, there's nothing really to be happy about. Am I joyful? Am I content with life? Of
Yeah,
course.
for sure.
But I think a lot of people, when they have a problem, they like to just resort to some type of drink or pill or substance or person to make them feel a certain way.
Let me say this. We specifically, I can't, let me tell you something. I can't stand it. I hate to cut you off. I
No.
cannot stand the weed. The weed makes you weak mentally if you know how to control it. If you on your stuff already and you got you a blunt here and there, I don't recommend it just because religious reasons, and health reasons. But have some self-control over that, you
Yeah.
know. But like you said, they should not resort to whatever you're going through. You shouldn't resort to any substances, because you're going to
Never.
rely on it, especially alcohol.
Especially alcohol and weed. I mean, because
Yeah.
alcohol is horrible. We talk about how it's a poison to your body, but weed, like you said, man, it lowers your drive. It lowers your motivation.
For sure.
People like to say, I can still be productive while I smoke. It's like,
Yeah.
maybe part of the time, but the other part of the time, you're not going to feel like doing the things you have to do.
You're not at your fullest potential.
You're not your fullest potential.
At
So
all.
as much as it might make you feel good while you're doing something,
Mm-hmm.
there's no real substance to it. Like, you just do it and then you don't feel that good. And I think coming back what I alluded to earlier, when people want to take something to get rid of a problem,
Yeah.
I argue that true happiness comes from solving a problem which has longevity and substance to it. But not only that, but then you have more problems to solve. And I'll give you an example.
Okay.
If you're broke and you're working paycheck to paycheck
Yeah.
just to afford the rent,
Yeah.
that's a problem, right?
For
So
sure.
let's say you have a side hustle, you start getting your business going, you're making more money. Well, that problem of your rent not being paid is not a problem anymore. You got
Yeah.
rid of that problem because you can pay it because you have a business.
Yeah.
But now you have more problems. You have business tax and insurance and employees you got to pay. So now you have less shitty problems, essentially, but you still have problems. So
Yeah, for
when I
sure.
ask people, or really people ask me, what's your ideal life? I hear a lot of people say, I just want to be happy. I want a problem-free, happy life. And I say, well, my friend, I hate
man.
to break it to you, but a life with no problems is not a life worth living, because that's a very mundane life. And I think you ask anybody who's been through difficult times and
Yeah.
lived a very substantial life, they're going to tell you all the times they've learned. We talked about earlier growth from the bad times.
For sure.
All of that came from having bad problems and overcoming them.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people overlook. They just want a problem-free life,
And
easy life.
That's impossible. I mean, I don't know why. Like you said, I don't know why people would want that. I want to see all the hard work I put in and see what I get out of it. That's the high I get naturally, you
Yeah.
know. So whatever you work for, and you get the good outcome, that's gonna push you to do more. And we spoke on motivation.
We did.
Let me tell y'all something. Motivation is for the weak. I'm sorry. It's for the weak. If you be disciplined, like just doing stuff repetitively every day, at some point you're going to get what you want or what you're looking for. It's like a little, you know how the chart be on the stock market.
It's
It
like
goes
the
up.
S&P, man.
Yeah, man. It goes like this, then boom, you will shoot up and you come right back down. And I will say this, I had a few goals like a few years ago. Like, I'm like, man, I'm going to start my, videography business. I'm gonna give me a camera, a MacBook. I was excited before I got these things, right? But I got the MacBook first. And once I got it, it was like a few seconds of joy. Like, oh, I'm happy. I actually got it. Woo, woo, woo. And then it's temporary. It was like, wow, what's next? It's always gonna be what's next. So when I got the camera, I was excited for a little bit, but it was like, all right, what's next?
Mm-hmm.
So over time you go look back at your progress and be like, wow, I came a long way if you really give yourself a chance in life. So, and that's what's hurting people a lot.
Yeah, and I think that's really, to tie into what you just said. You got the MacBook. It felt good for a second, and
Yeah,
then it
for
goes
sure.
away. That's why I think people need to focus on chasing greatness instead of chasing a feeling, right?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
materialistic things in general, but especially feelings, because a lot of times people, they want to get that new car. They think like the car is going to make them happy, or they
Mm-hmm.
think the house is going to make them happy. But as
Right.
soon as you get the car, it's cool for a few weeks. You want to go to the grocery store to buy bread when you already got
Yeah,
bread, but then
yeah.
after a while, that car just becomes my car. It's just normal, right? It doesn't really have any substance to it. That's
No,
why I love the idea of chasing greatness and chasing achievements rather than just how you feel, because a feeling has no longevity. You drink and then you sober up after a few hours. You smoke, you
yeah.
sober up after a few hours.
But you feel like crap after as
And you
well.
feel like crap.
Feel
I'd
like
rather
crap.
feel like crap going through something and then
Mm-hmm.
have it pay off later on in
For
life.
sure. I most definitely agree. And what's hurting a lot of people right now is not only they don't know, like I feel like, you know what? Now that I think about it, I got a few of my peers, they really don't know not only where to start, but what to do, what hobby to jump
Mm.
into. And that's what result them to be easily distracted, like staying on the internet, playing the game all day. Not really taking that risk like they supposed to, right? So my advice to the people out there, I didn't know what I want to do. I just tried it out. I don't look at it as a waste of time. If something doesn't work out, it's just experience. So I went ahead and known I love videography, photography if I ain't jump into it, or boxing, especially boxing. I wouldn't have jumped to boxing. Well, I kind of fucked that one up. I wouldn't have known I like boxing if I was to jump into it. So that's really,
And had you have not liked it, it would have
yeah.
just been like, okay, I tried it, I didn't like it, and then we go from there.
And then
And
you can move on to the next hobby.
I think when people ask me, I get questions all the time. Well, where do I start? What do I do? Personally, I think the number one thing anybody should do, man, is
hmm
get their physical body in shape. Go to the gym.
Especially if you're a man.
Especially if you're a man.
Especially.
This is brutal. I think every man should be working on themselves physically. And if you
hmm
tell me, well, Jason, I do go to the gym, like you said, start trying things, man. An idle mind is the devil's workshop. So if you're
Yeah.
just sitting there, like you said, playing video games, smoking weed, you're just
You
chilling,
got too much time to think.
you're hanging out, yeah, you're not really going to get much done. And then
Yeah.
you're going to be susceptible to doing stupid things and
For
maybe
sure.
being around the wrong type of people, doing the wrong activities. And I think that is just something that is a huge detriment, especially if you're a man here.
Yeah.
Because, man, like I said, men, I mean, we're the backbone of society. And I think if
For
you're
sure.
a man just hanging out, chilling around, and you're not really doing much, that is horrible
It's hurting us. It's hurting the society for real.
to you and to
Yeah.
the people around you.
Yeah.
Like, you could talk about how it hurts yourself when you're lazy and you don't do things, but
hmm
think of the people around you,
Yeah.
especially if you have a wife, maybe you have kids.
And it's like you don't live for you. That's why we trying to express to people, like
Yes.
especially to the men out there. You don't live for you. You live for your family. Anybody that loves you, especially if you got a woman,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be locked in. You have to be. You can't depend on nobody else to save you because ain't nobody gonna save you but you. So
Yeah. And you have to be able to be someone that the people around you can look up to, which kind of ties into what you just said. How
for
are you
sure.
going to be, a great husband or boyfriend or father or just peer to those around you
Yeah.
if you don't even have yourself in check, physically and mentally?
For sure.
Both of these things. I think a lot of people, they might have their body in check. Maybe they do go to the gym. Maybe they
Yeah.
do eat the right food, but mentally,
It
it's
ain't
just
there.
not all up there. And people are willing to go to the gym or go train and hurt their muscles and get sore.
For sure.
And people are like, yeah, that feels good, this and that.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not ready to go through a tough time in life and feel that pain mentally and still continue to get through it and,
Yeah.
and have that be a driving factor as to why they are the man they are.
Yeah, most definitely. I like I said, I agree with everything you're saying. Just give yourself a chance. That's all I can really say about the mental growth. Give yourself a chance because if you don't, it's either you suffer right now or you're gonna regret it later. Whatever you do. So this is if you like our age group where you say you're 21,
Mhm.
I'm 22. If you're in your 20s, this is like I say the latest, the early 30s. I mean, yeah, the very early 30s. That's the time you could really use to set yourself for the rest of your life. these are the prime years, and I feel like you don't have time to be playing the game all day, smoking weed all day, drinking, partying. We don't have time for that. We got a generation behind us that want the same thing we want. So, and you got kids that you don't know about, or a potential family you don't know about that you got to provide for later. So, I look as you need to lock in. You don't have time to waste at all. And like we talked about earlier, surround yourself with people who want better for themselves, because you might not notice it, but if you surround yourself with people who want more and they actually doing it, like genuinely taking action, you're gonna grow automatically.
Mm-hmm.
So I say be around a group of winners or people that want to win instead of being around some people that's not really owns nothing. And people like, I wouldn't say like if you step away from your group just to get your stuff together, nobody's gonna take it personal. I guarantee you that. If anything, if you step away, people are gonna follow you. And that's what I recommend doing. So if you got that's part of what I really want to do. Like I just want to lead the people and to show the people that it's possible to do what you like truly love. Like doing what you love to do is way better than smoking weed and getting drunk. It's a way better feeling. I'm telling you, especially you'll see the true meaning of life. It's more to life, than partying or chilling all day. You know what I'm saying? And I'll go through a lot as well mentally, but to take my mind off it, I'm in the gym. I'm constantly working out. I'm seeing the gains. I'm seeing the process mentally and physically. And people will respect you and see that from a distance or for a third person.
Yeah, I
So,
think that's huge. You just said you go through problems mentally, and a way to get over it is to, constantly keep your mind occupied doing things that's going to better your life.
yeah,
I get a lot of people asking me, like, how do I get through this situation? And I say, well, this is a situation where it was out of your control. You
yeah,
couldn't control whether it happened or not. But this is where we come back to earlier. It might not be your fault that this happened,
yeah,
but it's your responsibility how you react and how you feel.
for sure.
The best thing to do is to keep your mind occupied doing things that are going to have a positive benefit on your life. The last thing you want to do is have some bad situation happen in your life and loathe in your bed all day and sit in your feelings and not actually do anything to be improving your life. It's better to do something while you're sad, while you're hurt, you feel depressed, whatever the case may be, doing something that's going to have a positive impact on your life to where, again, like you said earlier, eventually you get over it. A year from now, 3 years from now, you get over said problem. You get over it. So you're better off doing something that's going to, again, have a positive benefit on your life to where when you start feeling better about the situation, not only do you feel better about the situation, but you're a better person. Now you're
Exactly.
better at fighting. Now your physical body looks better.
Yeah,
That bank account looks bigger. I think that's probably one of my best pieces of advice is that life is better when you're better.
yeah,
Life, and that's super overlooked. I'm going to say that again. Life is better when you're better. You get in the gym, you get your body right, you feel good. You get that haircut that suits you, that fresh cut, you feel good.
yeah,
That bank account look a little bit bigger than it's supposed to be this month, you feel good. And, you know, I think a lot of people just wait to wake up and feel good. They wait to just have good people around them, be in good shape, have money. But it's like you put the work in, you go through those hardships, those trials and tribulations, and then you get to enjoy the fruits of your labor once that hard work pays off.
most definitely. I could agree to that. And that's one of the things that I don't like is the procrastination. It's the waiting, the waiting. I'm going to wait for the good time. I'm going to wait for this happen. After I get through this trauma or after I get through this problem, that's when I'm going to just take full action. We at the end of the year right now, right? So I know you're hearing a lot, oh, New Year's resolution, you already fucked up. I'm going to say it right now. What is the difference between today and January the 1st? There's no difference, right? So when you constantly waiting and you're programming your mind, people don't believe in that. People don't believe you could program yourself to think in certain things. So if you keep convincing yourself that you got time, you're going to keep waiting. And next thing you know, you're going to be 30. Then you're going to be 40. Then you're going to be like, oh, man, I could have did this and that. Woo, woo, woo. You're going to be that one uncle, auntie that be like, yeah, back in the day, I was a killer. I used to be this and that. Nah, man, I don't want to be that. You got to look at people who's already older than you and who already like didn't take life serious enough. That's what I really learned from. I learned from literally everybody. Like when I learn from some people, they be like, look, man, lock in right now. this is the time because I did this and that wrong. I wish I could have went this route and that route. The things they wish they could have did, I'm currently doing it right now. I'm currently doing it right now. Cause why am I waiting? Why would I be, not listening to them? And they've been through what I've been through already. So really, if you, like I said, if you in your 20s, you need to be taking action throughout the whole 20s. You got 9-10 years to get yourself together. Like seriously, because you in your, like I said, you in your prime.
You really do. You're your peak energy.
You at your peak of everything. Yeah.
It's only going to decline from here. I mean,
For sure.
we're in our early 20s, so I mean, we're in the peak for a few years, and then it only declines, and it never gets better.
Yeah.
And people just think like, hey, my time's going to come.
Yeah.
I'm going to wake up one day, and my time's going to come. And unfortunately, my friend, that's just never going to happen.
Never. And I guarantee you, I know you heard this before, but I feel like people knew how much time they had to live. They'll get on it.
Yeah.
They would get on it.
They said, hey, man, you only got 12 more years to live. Oh,
let me get action right now.
Every day they're going to start working.
Of course. So it's like, you don't know. The fact of me knowing I don't know when I'm going to, leave this earth, that's what pushed me even more. Like, let me get the most out of it. Let me lock in. Let me trust God. Let me talk to God and let him know, like, look, this is what I'm doing. Give me time or whatever relationship you got with God, make it better and really lock in. Do what you got to do.
I think that's beautiful, man, because something that I've started doing in the recent years is pray every day.
Yeah.
And I think something that a lot of people don't do is not only pray. I think a lot of more people should be praying.
For sure.
But I'm grateful that I wake up every single day. That's something I'm so conscious of, and I say this on my page a lot, and people might think I'm joking or I just say this because of social media.
Yeah.
I genuinely wake up every single day and I say, I am so grateful I got another 24 hours. Hopefully, it might not even be 24 hours. My heart might stop in my sleep. I could drive to work and get in a car accident. Who knows?
Whatever.
But I got to wake up, and I know that so many other people didn't wake up, and that makes me grateful, and that makes me sit there and go, we talk about perspective again. It's my perspective that, hey, I got the ability to wake up.
Yeah.
I feel like a fraud if I don't do everything I can in my day to become a better person, be better for those people around me, be a better leader, not only for myself, but like I said, and we talked about, for those around us.
Yeah.
And that's kind of something I want to tie into here is being grateful. I find nowadays so many people are so ungrateful for the position they are in life.
Yeah.
So many people might think that their life is so bad and they have so many problems.
Yeah.
When in reality, they have running water, warm water, abundance of food, clothes, a house, family, at least a couple people that love them, right? Not everybody has a bunch of people in a huge family. At least a couple people that love them. They have a house. They have so many things, man, that so many people on other parts of the world and in America, quite frankly, will never experience.
Yeah.
And that's something that really kind of ticks my brain a little bit. I'm like, man, you have so much. But again, it all comes back to your perspective. If you think that you've had some fucked up issues happen in your life and you're going to play victim to those, then that's your perspective on it.
Yeah.
But if you can sit there and understand that you have so much more than so many other people, you see how some of these people live in third world countries, man.
Yeah.
It's brutal. It's horrible,
terrible,
man.
Yeah.
I see some people posting those videos and you got war zones going on. You got people with no food. They're working all day carrying water.
Yeah.
And then we hear people in America, one of the most luxurious countries in the world, where people just want to complain all the time.
Yep, sit in their room and complain. Meanwhile, overseas, they going through something 10 times worse.
That people can't even
10
fathom.
times worse.
People can't even fathom. Maybe because they're not exposed to that and they don't know how people live in other parts of the world. But I think a lot of people know what goes on in other parts of the world, but they just don't care. It's easier to play victim. It's like, I don't want to get up and go do this. I don't want to do that because it feels good to just sit in my bed and say, you don't understand. You don't understand what I've been through because I have it so bad.
Yeah.
And you're never going to really get far in life with a mindset like that.
Yeah, I can agree to that, especially if you got a good support system. And I'm speaking to the people who got a good support system. If you literally wasted time not finding yourself or working on the things you're supposed to be working on, that's the disrespect to whoever's supporting you. Like, you should be wanting to not only do it for yourself, but do it for your loved ones. You know what I mean? Like, don't just be sitting around wasting time thinking that, like I said, I seen people from my perspective, They parents support them a whole lot, right? Or they grandma, whatever. They'll do literally anything for them, and they don't take advantage of it.
No.
And I see it a whole lot because they take it as like, all right, I'm taken care of now. I'm good right now. You need to be thinking about long term. Grandma and mom and dad not gonna be there for long. You know what I mean? So you should be taking advantage of the support system you got right now.
100%.
You know, so I just say, in my opinion, that's disrespectful.
Yeah.
It is like, it's the fact that that this person is willing to sacrifice anything for you because they got that unconditional love. You choose not to take full advantage of it. So I feel like if anybody listening to that and you currently going through that, you really think about what I'm saying. It's very important.
As disrespectful to those people and as disrespectful to yourself. And
Yeah.
people might not even realize it's disrespectful to themselves. A lot of people, they might not
Right.
even realize it,
Yeah.
but it is. And it truly is because, like you said, those people aren't going to be there forever. And having those people in your life now, again, it comes back to being grateful. A lot of people don't have those people. A lot of
Yeah.
people might not have somebody who is truly down to give them that unconditional love and really make sacrifices
most
for someone
definitely.
like that.
Yeah. I can agree to that. Like I said, they just need to lock in. I just see it. I see it a lot.
They do.
It's normal to be weak. It's normal to, to
It's
bull.
normal because it's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy to be weak. It's easy to be undisciplined, but
That's the one.
there's ways to build discipline. That's one of the most frequently questions I get asked, man. How do you build discipline? How do I become disciplined and do something when I
Yeah.
don't feel like doing it?
Let's talk about it.
And unfortunately, my friend, the only way to become disciplined and do something when you don't feel like doing it is to do it when you don't feel like doing it. And that's what gives it value. And that's something that people overlook drastically. They say, I know I need to start doing something. I know I need to start reading or going to the gym or learning how to fight.
Yeah.
But I just don't feel like doing it. Tony, how do I feel like doing it? And I say, well, ultimately, if you really don't feel like doing it, you probably just don't want it bad enough.
I'm going to just say it like this. If you a man, you not allowed to not feel like doing anything. I'm going to just start by saying there, you need to man up and do what you got to do. All right? You got a family to protect. You got a family to feed. You got so much roles that you know what I'm saying? You got to be a good leader to your woman. You have to be a real leader. You're not allowed to waste time and be depressed or be sad about something. That's a lot of people don't know, the word stoicism. You got to have some stoicism. You got to be a man and go through whatever you need to go through. Because at the end of the day, it's people out there watching and depending on you, So you're not allowed to waste time and be like, oh, how do I find discipline? How do I? No.
It's not going to happen.
You don't have time for that. So it's not going to happen. Do what you got to do consistently, and over time, it'll be straight.
And there are ways, I said what I said, you have to do it regardless of how you feel. Even if you don't feel like doing it, well, that's what gives it value. Because if everybody just felt like doing it, everybody could do it, right? Everybody can go to a concert.
If it was easy, everybody would do it.
Yeah, everybody can go to a concert. Everybody can go out and do the mundane activities that everybody does.
For sure.
But there's no value there. There's no value. But it's hard to get your body in shape. It's hard to eat the proper food, learn how to fight, become smart, become a great speaker. Those things are hard, and there is ways to build your discipline up. Something that I think a lot of people overlook is small wins every day. A lot of people might think like, okay, I want to get my body in shape. And they think a year out. They're like, I got to do this for a year. Like, it's very unfathomable to do something for a year straight. The human brain cannot process that. So something you can do is just win the day.
Yeah.
Win the day. Wake up 30 minutes earlier, and then you wake up at that time. That's a win.
Yeah.
And you say, okay, I'm going to eat this healthy food. That's 2 wins. And you say, all right, I'm going to go to the gym. That's another win. You write these things down, and it tricks your brain when you write these things down and cross them off. It gives you this little sense of accomplishment, and that is ultimately what makes you feel good about doing said thing.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't do that. I know a lot of people don't do it. They tell me they do, and I say, well, no, you don't.
But what people fail to realize, progress shows.
It does.
It comes natural. Like people like a person like myself, like I could tell if you genuinely been going to the gym or mentally grow. Not saying you gotta say this to people too. not saying that you gotta prove anything to me, cause I'm nobody. You don't gotta prove nothing to me. But when you acting like something you not, you become a fraud. You lose respect. So just genuinely work on yourself and give yourself that chance, and we would know, or we respect your word, depending on what it is. Cause it's I get some crazy advice for certain people. Like, for example, like I ain't gonna lie, not too long ago, I remember I was in high school and it was this homeless guy. He was giving me a certain, advice. And it was some real stuff. He told me like the direction that he headed, like the direction he was heading in high school and how he became where he was at. Cause I used to take the bus in school. So when I was in high school, as I'm waiting at the stop, he talking to me. I don't know what made him start to talk to me, but he was just talking to me on how he had a good support system and he didn't take advantage of it, and stuff just went left. I could go on all day about what we talked about, but stuff went left. I ain't think none of it until I had my reality check. Like when I had my reality check, I'm like, dog, I low-key could be heading that direction if I don't lock in. Yeah. So I really believe like stuff's smooth right now, but if you don't be on your stuff, ain't no telling what could happen to you. Like you could be homeless in a heartbeat, a blink of an eye. Anything could happen. So that's why I take whatever I do full effect, because you never know.
And I like that you said that, because earlier you talked about the people you surround yourself with have a huge bearing on what you do in your life, just the people around you. And I do believe that. I am a firm believer in you are the sum of the 5 people you hang around with. That is a huge thing I believe in. But also, I think it's not only is it good to be around those people that can push you and they're better than you and you're trying to aspire to be like them, but I think it's also crucial to sometimes be around those people that aren't in your ideal life situation. Like I've always heard, and I take this, advice myself. If you're going to ask somebody for advice, make sure that they're in a life position that you want to be in.
Yeah.
Don't be asking somebody who's way down here, should you start this business? Should I start videography? When they've never done it.
Right.
I'm a construction manager, so I meet a bunch of different people, and I'm around people all the time where I look at them after having a conversation and I go, I do not want to live your life. It's kind of good to have this reality check, like being around these people where you don't want to live, and you say, okay, whatever you did, make sure I don't do that.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big one. At least for me, it kind of just keeps me locked in. I go home and I'm with my boys, and I'm like, okay, these are the type of people I want to be like.
Yeah.
And then the other half of the day, I'm like, okay, reality check, wake up call. If I, keep fucking off and don't do the things I know I have to do, what we're talking about right here, if I don't apply this advice, this is going to be my life. A very average life, not doing much significant things. And that's very scary to me.
And then you go be one of them older people that be like, you know what? I didn't do this, so make sure you do this and that. It's a whole cycle. I don't want to be that.
I want to be the guy who's like, this is what I did to make my life so great. You need to follow my advice. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, I could totally agree to that. Like, my biggest fear is staying in a 9-to-5 for the next 15 years, telling somebody my age, hey, man, if you get into this and that, you could get out this job, woo, whatever. It's just crazy.
Like, why didn't you do that?
Yeah.
Why you can't be given that advice? And I'm glad you said that you don't want to work a 9-to-5 your whole life, because that's something I talk about a lot with people on social media. They ask me what my plans are with my life. And obviously it's business, real estate, the whole 9 yards that way, because it's genuinely scary for me to think of myself at 30, 35 years old, being a grown-ass man, being told what to do by another grown man.
About a young manager.
Someone younger than me.
Manager.
He dictates my pay that helps feed my wife and children.
Right.
He dictates when I come in, when I can take vacation.
Yeah.
It's not even doing work for 40 years that scares me. It's the fact that I have to report to another grown man that helps put food on my table for my wife and kids. And again, if anybody wants to work a 9-to-5, this isn't shitting on them. Some people like the comfortability of just getting a paycheck every week and, having their 2 weeks of vacation a year. But
it's fine to be mediocre if you want to be that.
Personally, I think for me and you, I can speak very clearly here. We just don't want that. And I think, what made you kind of think that you don't want to work a 9-to-5? When did that kind of tick in your brain that this is not what I want to do my whole life?
It's the stuff that come with a 9-to-5. Like you said, I don't like the fact I need to report to you to have a day off, or If I'm sick and I don't got no PTO days and I don't have any time off and I could get fired, I don't like the idea of that. But I don't, it's just, I got a certain lifestyle that I want. I got a certain drive. I know I got potential to, you know, everybody got their own form of success. I'm gonna just start by saying there. But the place that I want to be, I can't settle for a 9 to 5. You know, I want to be on my own time, but it's a lot that come with it. You gotta own things to be on your own time, you know. But just looking at my surroundings at a 9 to 5, that's what truly makes me not wanting to be in a 9 to 5. You know, it actually motivates me to get out of there.
Just seeing what the lifestyle of those people
Of course.
are.
Yeah, just seeing
Just
it, you know.
complaining all the time.
They
and
complain a lot, and not only that, hey, y'all ever went on vacation, right? You live in this good life temporarily for like a week, then you come back to work, you talk about the good time you had, and then when you back at your workplace, you back in reality, you like, oh, I don't want to do this no more. I'm getting tired
hate
of
your
it.
life.
So it's like, that's how you know you're not supposed to be working that job, like, or any job. They say, oh, maybe you should get another job. Maybe you should get another job. I don't care what nobody say. 9 to 5s are the same, all of them. Same objectives. Like, they got the same whatever, same pay, just a few more dollars, more or less. It doesn't matter.
A little bit
They
extra
give you-
vacation.
Right. And they give you just enough to keep you in there. That don't make you think about that. You never have enough to leave a job. That don't really concern people. You know, I always think about these type of things while I'm at work. I talk to my coworkers about these things. Like, man, a 9 to 5 is a hustle. That's how I look at it. It's a hustle. Whatever I get is going to the market. It's going to my new equipment, whatever. It's going to something productive. And that's why I say, like, the drinking and the smoking, I put it in this perspective, like, you buy you a little 3-5 or whatever, right? Or you buy you a little pint. You literally rolling up. Just think about it. You rolling up and you smoking your money in the air.
You smoking about 2 hours of your life away. Because
Man.
how many hours did you have to work to get that pint?
But
or
see,
get that
that's
ounce?
what I'm saying. If you gotta work for your time, you should not be buying no expensive clothing. And if you got an expensive habit or whatever, you need to drop it. You work for your time. Like, that's what I think. Like, people don't really think about money management
No.
or how they money getting spent. If you think about it, you work a week. You probably get paid with like $50 a day or something like that. Some people get paid like $50 a day. That's like, I spent a couple hundred at the store. That's like 3-4 days of work that you just spent.
People don't think of it like that.
People really don't think of it like that.
They just work the week. They hate what they do. They get the paycheck and
They
they're like,
just-
hey, I got money to spend. Let's go shopping, man.
Exactly.
Let's go buy this. Let's go get lit. Let's
like
get
they
turned.
didn't just work for that a week. You spent a week worth of work in one day.
That's something that I've
Absolutely
thought about
not.
for, a couple years now. When I started changing the way I think, that was a big one for me, is understanding that literally time is money, but also that money's not real. Like, they print this shit from a machine.
Oh man,
So many dollars per second, and I'm sitting here working. So if I get paid, $700, $800 a week,
Yeah.
like you just said, how many hours did I have to work to buy these shoes or to buy this car, like this car payment? How many
Yeah.
hours it's not like work. It's hours off my life.
It's your time. Your time is more valuable than anything, and that's why I spend money the way I do. And I feel like other people should too. Like, you really should consider that. Your time is way more valuable than money and clothes, something that's temporary. And what people don't look at is like clothes, shoes, whatever you buy, over time, the value goes down. And you just spend all your time on that object.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
There's no longevity. There's no substance to those types of things. And yeah, putting your money to make you more money is the only thing that you should be doing. So, and I'm only 21, you're 22.
Yeah.
We have a very good understanding of this at our age. So anybody who's around this age, even if you're older, especially if you're younger, put your money into things that's going to make you money.
For sure.
Even if it's a risk. This
Yeah.
is something that a lot of people don't realize is, even if you want to put your money into something, and invest or start a business or dump money into something that could potentially make you more money,
Yeah.
you have to understand that one, the risk is what it takes. It's not a guaranteed, right? You're not just going to guaranteed put your money into a business or into something and you're
Yeah.
going to get a solid return.
Yeah.
But that's the risk. And something that I think a lot of people brush past is if that's you, if you're an aspiring entrepreneur or business owner and that's the path that you choose, your worst case scenario is everybody's normal.
Yeah.
Your worst case scenario is you dump your money into something and it fails and you just go back and work a job for a couple years and stack that money back up. That's people's normal lives.
Yeah.
They already work the job. So if it fails for you, well, you just hustle that job again. Like you said, you hustle, stack that bread back up,
Yeah.
and you try it again. And I think that's what people are scared to do. Most people are scared to take that risk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I for sure know what you mean. And like not even being scared of the risk. They don't want to start to
That's
take
a
the
big
risk.
one. Yeah.
You got to start before you actually, take a risk. You know what I mean? And that's why I say if you surround yourself by people who's on the same type of time as you mentally, you won't even worry about losing the risk because this other person in your group is working on himself as well. And you taking notes from him. He go fail too. And it's going to be time you go be successful in other areas and he go take note from you. So it's constant productive feedback.
It is.
Productive feedback.
It really
It
is.
ain't always going to be good, So I will say yes. Right now, I'm currently alone. I'm solo right now because it's kind of tough to find people who's genuinely on the same type of time as you.
It is.
Genuinely. Like, for example, like I got a few people that's like owning their own business, that's into the stock market that I take note of, and that makes me grateful for them. So I'm gonna shout out two of them, okay? Well, three of them. Shout out to Chris Massey. He showed me how to work out the stock market.
Okay.
Because 3 years ago, I was one of them people. I bought a $300 Palm Angel shirt. $300 Palm Angel shirt. Some Air Force Ones. Some $400, it was like $200 jeans. I think I spent almost $1,000 in clothes just to go out one night.
Oh, man.
Just to go out one night. And I had a coworker, he talked to me, and he like a year younger than me. He was just talking to me about the, where I should spend my money at and stuff like that. But around that time of me talking to Chris and my other coworker, that's when I fully changed my mind on, how to spend my money. And I learned how to work the stock market, and now I make money from it now. And another thing is my big brother, that's my god brother. His name Ricky. Shout out to Ricky, man. Boo's Barbecue. He's currently solo right now. He's solo. He doing his own thing with his barbecue business. He works very hard. I mean, hard. He jumping location to location. Got his truck, grill, all by himself.
Got that hustle.
He got the hustle in him. He got a family to feed. He talked to me. He be like, man, like we talked a few weeks ago at my job. He told me the stuff he was going through. But he was like, man, I got to keep pushing, though. I don't got time. I don't have time to be sitting around depressed and sad or think about all the things I go through because I got a business to run. I got money to make. So
you got food to put on the table.
You
man.
got food to put on the table.
No joke.
It ain't no joke. So shout out Boo's Barbecue, man, because, hey, I look after you too, man. You give me the drive I need to run my own business. So just surrounding yourself with people like that, it will literally push you. It will give you extra motivation, right? That they, that's what they say.
Like it's more of like a aspiration. Like you aspire to be someone
for
like
sure.
that, or aspire to be doing
it could turn to
it
could turn to a chain, like what's that called? A chain reaction?
Yeah.
It could turn to a chain reaction. Once somebody seeing something, that's why I say what we doing right now, it's a good thing. Because hopefully, like I said, you 21, I'm 22. Hopefully y'all peers watch a few clips of our videos and really, change their mind on things, Because like I said, by me working on myself, I like the people who I be around, I ain't gonna, say their names, but like my family that's my age, they see what I'm doing, and
Likewise.
I could tell that I give them hope. I always spill that good knowledge to them or just to tell them, let them know, like, hey, you got this. Because at one point in time, I ain't gonna say like I always been good or always been mentally there. At one point in time with my family, I was a bad influence on them, and I feel like I gotta pay that back. I gotta do nothing but good for them. I gotta show them, hey, this is what I'm on right now. This is the way I think. You know, basically just letting them know what I'm on now, and hopefully they could jump on that
And
train
that is
with me,
possible.
and to show them that it's possible. Like, just really give yourself a chance.
Yeah.
So that's just the message to my peers, my cousins and friends. That's the message I got for y'all, man. Y'all got this. Just lock in, and don't look at it as like I'm giving y'all a speech. I genuinely care for y'all, bro. Like, give yourself a chance to do what you love to do, and I promise you, everything gonna be smoother.
And it's a conscious effort, man. It is a
Yeah.
conscious effort because, I mean, I say this for my personal self, and I'm sure you can agree with this. I didn't always think like this.
Yeah.
Everything we're talking about, all of our viewpoints and perspectives, this was a conscious effort to think like this, putting your time and attention into books, podcasts, videos, surrounding yourself with people, like you just said,
Yeah.
to make you think a certain way.
Yeah, or really just watching successful people already.
Yes.
Like, sometimes I just watch millionaires, like random millionaires. They speak game. Like, a lot of people don't watch it, or I read certain books. Like, I just got done reading 48 Laws of Power. My homeboy Chris, he recommended me to read Rich Dad Poor Dad. So that's like a little financial book. So I can't wait to get into that. Really just change it up. Just put the phone down, because that's one of the biggest distractions. Or if you got the phone, learn something from it at least,
100%. I mean, I probably have more screen time than the majority of people watching this podcast right now on my phone.
For
but
sure.
Man, I use my phone to produce content, make videos, talk with people like we do now, and ultimately learn from it. A lot of people, they might scroll on TikTok and Instagram and get these little dopamine hits from these motivational videos with the noise in the background.
Yeah.
And the message could be good with what this person's saying. Like,
Yeah.
what they could be saying could be game, man. They could be giving like great advice.
Seriously.
But people's attention spans are so fried that they can't sit there and actually take the information and do something with it. It's in one ear, right out the other. And so, like you said, put the phone down. My best advice to somebody who wants to start learning is put the phone down, pick a book up, and or listen to podcasts. Actually sit there, listen, reflect on it, write what you hear down.
Rewire
in the
your
podcast.
brain.
Yeah, you have to sit there and, a lot of people want to start doing something, but you got to be educated to start doing it. You got to have the right perspective. You got to have the right information in your brain. And I'll tell you right now, scrolling TikTok for 8 hours a day is not going to get you there. You got to actually, again, be conscious to what you read. And I don't know why people don't do it more. Maybe it's just their attention span's fried and they don't even realize it, or they just can't be asked. They just don't care.
Yeah, I don't think it's like I said. It's just lazy. It's just lazy, man. That's all. Just not taking effort. Yeah, that's all it is. It's just lazy. Because, like I said, I've been there before. Like, I reflect on myself years ago. I used to be lazy, not want to do it. I just didn't want to do nothing. That's really what it is. I choose not to take the time out and really like want to learn some different things or learn from other people, you know what I mean? Or taking information and use it. So it's just being lazy and not wanting a change, People want to change until it's time to take the action.
Until it's actually time to, when push comes to shove and you got to actually put the work in, that's when people don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Was there like a driving factor in your life that made you want to kind of take a shift in the way you think and live? Or was it just kind of, you got sick of your situation after a certain amount of time?
No, I will say this. It's both. Like, when I say it's both, it's both. Like I said, I had a life changer reality check. I had a life changer reality check. And I say this all the time. Like, when people say it was my intuition, I truly believe that's God communicating with you. For anybody that know me, I tell them that as well. God he communicated to me around that time, and I felt like if I ain't lock in, something bad was gonna happen, literally. And it came to a point that I got tired of my own bull, like literally tired of it. I don't know if people feel like that. I don't know, but out of my experience, like with the smoking stuff, it was so easy for me to stop smoking. because I was genuinely tired of it. I didn't like the way it made me feel. It made me feel like depressed. It made me feel weak,
Numb.
not like all kinds of bad stuff. Like it's more constant pros to smoking, and it make me paranoid. Like I be thinking about life while I'm high. Like I don't like it. It's just too many cons more than pros. So and then I will say this: it was at one point in time that I was just smoking weed just cause. Like it didn't make me high,
You're just
nothing.
bored.
I was just doing it. Like
Yeah.
it was just an impulsive reaction. Like so I got tired of that impulsive reaction. And first off, my money was declining as well. It's an expensive habit. I didn't like the fact that I'm broke. I gotta ask other people for money to get the weed and eat. Like I seen people choose. You either get some gas for your car and you can have some food for the night, or you get this weed. I see people choose weed over the stuff they need. And once I experienced that multiple times and from myself, I got sick of that shit. I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I can't be around it. It's bum activity, you know? I don't like it at all, man.
So you just got to sum it up, you just got sick of your situation.
I
Said,
got
fuck
sick
this,
of
I gotta change.
not only my situation. I got sick of the people who I was around or seeing it from different people. I'm like, you know what? I need to change this shit ASAP because this ain't me. You know?
I think that's kind of what we talked about earlier with it. It comes to a point because I get asked all the time, how do I start doing something? How do
Yeah.
I stop doing something?
For sure.
And I can give tips and ways to do it, but at the end of the day, if you want it bad enough, you are going to change or you're going to start something, you're going to quit, whatever it is. I think a lot of people are looking for answers that they already know the answer to, but they're hoping I give them some like GTA 5 cheat code. They're hoping I just give them some like little tip or trick to be like, hey, this is how you start doing something. This is how you stop doing something. It's like people ask me, okay, how do I put down the weed? How do I put down the alcohol? Well, I mean, there's things I can tell you, like keep your mind occupied, stay busy, don't let yourself have time to do it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you just don't go to the store and buy it and break it down, roll it up. You just don't do that.
Now, I will say this. I say like the only advice I could give to people to stop smoking, run on that treadmill, do some cardio.
Damn straight.
I don't lift nothing. Do cardio. And you tell me how you gonna feel after. Like seriously, if you don't cheat yourself and you do the cardio, you ain't gonna want to smoke ever again. That's if you genuinely do the workout. If you consistent with the workout, do cardio. You gonna be like in the middle of workout, you gonna be like, dang, I'm never doing that again. When I eat bad, when I have a cheat day and I'm hitting mix with my coach, I'll be thinking about that cheesecake I ate 2 days ago. I'm like, oh nah, man.
Got you feeling like shit.
Yeah, man. I'm like, I'm done with that, man. I'm gonna get my diet together. But
and you learn.
For sure.
You fuck up, you do that little cheat day or you smoke or whatever,
Man.
your lungs are fucked or you feel like shit.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, I got to know not to do that again. Like you just learned from it. So some people might say, oh, I relapsed on it or I went back to it. It's like, okay, well, you're going to learn. You're going to learn that you feel like shit when you eat the bad food or when you keep smoking and your lungs are fucked up when you're doing whatever.
For sure. I could agree to that. And I will say this, don't the stuff I laugh at if you're trying to stop smoking, don't say I'm gonna stop smoking. It's all up here. If you tell yourself you're not gonna do something, you're gonna do it. That's just what it is.
That's how humans are, man.
And if
Human nature.
if you count how many days you been like you kept from smoking, like if you count like it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, you're gonna relapse.
100%.
Just stop. That's it. Oh, I'm gonna stop on this day. When I talk to certain people, and they be like, you know what, I'm gonna stop smoking before this opportunity happens. They'll do the opportunity, then they'll smoke during the opportunity they got. So it's like, bro, what? It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
It's a double negative. Not only are they not quitting, but they're cheating themselves.
They cheating themselves. So I feel like if you want people to respect you, you gotta respect yourself. You gotta be honest with yourself. And that's what I gotta say about that.
100%. And I think having that self-respect with yourself is something that's huge. A lot of people ask me how to get self-respect or how do I build my confidence or self-esteem. when you do something like that, you tell yourself you're going to quit smoking and then you
Yeah.
keep doing it. That breaks a little chunk of your confidence.
For
And you
sure.
say you're going to, put that bad food down, but you don't. It breaks some more
Mhm.
confidence. So when you tell yourself you're going to do these things or quit these things and you always just fall through on your word and never own up to it
Yeah.
for days, months, years, why do we think there's a huge issue with people having self-respect and low self-esteem? Now, on the inverse, if you do the complete opposite, you tell yourself,
Yeah.
I'm going to put that weed down. I'm going to eat that good food. And you actually follow through on a whole bunch of these little things
Yeah.
every day, every week, every month, and it just translates into years. That compounds greatly into high self-confidence, high self-esteem. You feel
Naturally.
good about yourself. Naturally, exactly.
Naturally.
Exactly. You're not drinking something to get that liquid courage and go have a conversation with
Or
somebody.
just to have fun.
Or just to
Yeah.
have fun. You
course.
actually feel good about yourself. And so the answer to anybody who asks me, how do you get, more self-confidence or a higher self-esteem? That's it right there. Follow through on the things you say you're going to do. Follow through on the things you say you're going to quit. And over time, you'll start to realize, wait a minute, I can actually trust myself. I can actually trust myself.
That's a whole nother feeling, man. Like, I'm glad you said that. That's some good stuff, Jason. When I started to trust myself, that right there, it gave me all the power that I need to keep going. Like, that's just real stuff, man. Like, by me already it's a whole process. So if you give yourself a chance and genuinely go through whatever obstacle you got going on, and on top of you saying you're going to do certain things, like he said, you're going to trust yourself. It's just a natural thing. And not only that, people going to trust you. People going to hold you to your word. And that's when you get the respect from other people,
Because you want to know something, man? If you had a friend in your life, right? You have a friend in your life, guy or girl here.
Yeah.
And they say, I'm going to pull up and do this. We're going to go here. I'm going to do this. And they always just lie. And they never show up on their word. Eventually, you're going to be like, fuck this person. I'm not going to keep hanging out with you.
And
like,
it pisses
you're not
you
a
off.
good friend. And
Yeah.
it pisses you off.
Yeah.
So if you wouldn't let somebody in your life do that to you, most people don't even realize they do that to themselves. They lie to themselves. They tell themselves they're going to start doing something or show up somewhere,
Yeah.
and they don't do it. So if you wouldn't keep a friend in your life that does something like that and applies to those things, you got to look inside first and be like, well, wait a minute. I'm doing this shit to myself.
Right.
I'm not following through on my word.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't even think, man. They don't even question themselves. They're always trying to question everything and everyone else.
Exactly. Unless you're around other procrastinators, I mean,
Then that's just a
then
downward spiral.
Yeah, then you gonna be straight. You could do that. But if you're around somebody that's the opposite and you doing it, you look like shit. So I won't recommend doing that.
100%. Now, I got a personal question for you because sitting here talking to you for the first time, like at length, because we've talked before.
Before, yeah, we ain't talked this long though.
We ain't talked this long.
Yeah.
What kind of made you able to speak the way you do now? Were you always just kind of a natural speaker, always be able to like flow off of the tongue, or did you practice the way you speak and the way you're kind of charismatic?
It's part of it is I got a testimony, so it comes natural.
Okay.
Especially when we talk about self-growth, I most definitely have a testimony. And we still at the very beginning of our self-growth.
For sure.
We only in our early 20s.
Right here at that start of the peak, the start of the
peak.
growth, I mean.
Yeah, of course. So, but I always been, everybody who knows me know I talk a lot. I'm full of fun and you know what I'm saying?
Just
like
an energetic person?
I'm an energetic person,
Okay.
But I always been that way to answer your question. Yeah. And then by me going through what I go through and find a way to get through the obstacle, I got a testimony and I want to pass it to other people because it makes me feel good. It makes me feel like it's a great deed to do because, like I said, like people live up here a lot. We all live up here a lot. And it's important that your mind is locked in and it's clear from the bull, So.
Yeah, and I think
What about you, man?
Well, yeah, I didn't always speak this way. I used to have crazy social anxiety. I mean,
For real?
Believe it or not, I mean, people hear me talk now.
So
and
you used to be quiet?
Not quiet. I mean, I was always kind of a little bit louder in school. I was always like the funny kid in school and whatnot. But then once I kind of quarantine hit, like COVID hit and whatnot,
yeah,
man, I just kind of let myself go. I started feeling like the depression and like just not working on myself, being lazy.
Yeah.
And I noticed at that time, I could not have conversations with people in public. It was so horrifying to me to have conversations with like somebody in public. And so when people ask me, how did I learn to speak properly? It's really, and like, again, having that testimony,
Yeah.
to learn how to speak properly, really, besides talking to other people, like that's the number one thing. You got to just get out there and talk more. I think a lot of people are scared to just have small conversations in public.
Yeah, it ain't bad.
Like give somebody a compliment. You know, the waitress at the restaurant, the cashier who's checking you up, just start a little small conversation.
Yep.
Give them a compliment. Learn to do that. Another thing that helped me is reading.
Okay.
I think reading is huge, but not just reading from the book, because a lot of times when you read in your head,
Yeah.
you just kind of you just jumble through
You gotta
it.
say it out loud.
You got to almost, if you don't read it out loud, if you got people in your house or whatever, that's what I would recommend. Reading
Yeah,
out loud.
For sure.
Because it helps you enunciate words, pause, take breaks, and then also recording yourself.
Yeah.
I think recording yourself speak is one of the best things, because
Yeah.
I have videos on my social media from a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, and I cringe when I watch them now. I'm like,
Ooh.
yeah, I did not know how to speak properly. But the more I recorded myself and listened and continued to read, continued to have conversations with people in public, over time, that just kind of made me more confident with speaking.
Yeah.
And when you record yourself, you kind of know if you speak good or not. You can sit there and listen to it without watching it and be like, I kind of sound like an idiot.
Yeah.
Or not, right? Like if we sit back and
Yeah.
listen to this podcast, we'll be like, okay, we know what we're saying. Like,
Yeah,
we
for sure.
got it down. But I think another key takeaway for people who want to be more confident when it comes to public speaking or doing what we're doing here.
Yeah.
A lot of people can't sit here for an hour,
course
2
not.
hours and just go off the tongue.
Yeah.
Is again ties back to being confident in yourself.
Yeah, for
If
sure.
you have things to talk about, if you've gone through certain things, you know how to get over certain things, or you've achieved certain things, you have no problem sitting there talking to people.
Of course.
Anxious. What am I anxious about?
Yeah.
Like a lot of people ask me, how do I get over social anxiety? Have you
Yeah.
ever dealt with being in social groups or like social settings and being nervous?
You know what? I feel like it's normal to feel that way. It's a matter of, like you said, it's the confidence that come in, you know? Because like I said, the most I did, you know, I played basketball in front of people, you know. I had spelling bees at a time in front of people. So I kind of already know how to perform in front of people.
Okay.
You know, I feel like that nervous, like if you know how to control that nervous feeling, it gives you the power you need to say certain things, or the courage to say certain things, you know. I just believe it's normal to have, and it's just a matter of having control of it. But some people don't feel the nervousness at all. They just, like you said, like yourself, like, where's there to be nervous about, you know? And I could agree to that, because that slowly fade away for me.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, like, for me, when I start fighting, all fighters feel this way,
Oh,
like
yeah.
when you nervous, because you don't know what this guy got. But all you know is what you got. You got to believe in yourself,
100%.
you know? So
It's almost like that level of delusion.
yeah, it's the level of you do gotta be a little delusional. You have to be.
Yeah, so when I get questions all the time, because so many people, you know, suffer with this, and I really do think a huge majority of the reason why people think like this is because of social media.
Yeah.
Social anxiety is huge nowadays. I don't think a lot of people realize that, because they just might not post on the internet.
Yeah.
But since I'm on the internet all of the time, and I talk to a bunch of people one-on-one, et cetera, the number one problem people have, other than feeling depressed, is social anxiety. And I truly think if you feel socially anxious when you're around people, not only is your confidence level low, and you don't trust yourself and you never follow through on the things you say you're going to do,
Yeah.
but you're always getting this false belief that people are better than you. You're just out in public and you feel like everybody's better than you.
Oh, yeah.
So the fix to that, if you think everyone's better than you, is to do things that most people don't do. Get your body in shape, eat the proper food, be a good speaker, have a sense of humor, do things. I really think this is a big takeaway here. A lot of people think I'm joking when I say this, Tony. Do things that are hard just to do them.
Why not?
Just to do that. You know,
Why not?
I take cold showers every day. Every
Really?
single day I take a cold shower. Not, you know, I take my warm shower and
Of
then I
course.
finish it cold for a couple minutes. Why do I do it? Not only do I feel great because of the epinephrine and chemicals it releases,
For sure.
but because it's a mental thing. I told myself I was going to do it, you know, back in the summer. I was cold plunging outside.
Yeah.
Can't do the cold plunge anymore, so I do it in the
Right.
shower. But I said I was going to do it, and if I don't do it, there's no cameras. Nobody's there to know that I didn't take
No
the cold
music.
shower, but I know. What we talked about earlier, if you said you're going to do something and you break that word with yourself, you're going to slowly lose that confidence. So
For sure.
if you just do things that are hard simply because it's hard,
Yeah.
and I know this might sound crazy to some of you guys, social anxiety, people are going to get social anxiety from you.
Yeah.
What are you nervous about, man? I mean,
Yeah.
you do things that everybody else doesn't do. You
Yeah.
go to the grocery store and you see what people are buying at the grocery store. You see how people are acting in public and things they do and the hobbies they have. They're buying pints and they're buying 3-5s. You see people like that and you're like, I don't do the shit these people do. What am I nervous about, you know?
Yeah. Or better luck, your peers.
Or your peers.
That's where you really get it from, and that's when you notice it. Like certain people will look at you and they look at their life and be like, dang, I could be doing this and that. Like, well, duh, yeah, you can do what I do, or not, or if you choose not to. But it's funny you said that, man, because I get that from other people as well. I'm like, dude, I just started my little journey, man. Like, I'm no better than you. I'm no different. I'm like, yeah, I'm no better than nobody. That's all I gotta really say about it. I'm just no better than anybody.
And I think that's what people don't realize. Like you just said, you're not better than anybody, and you can't look at people being so much better than you. But we got social media is so prominent nowadays. I even see sometimes on my pages, on my For You page and whatnot, everybody's seeing somebody else that's living a way better life. Everyone's seeing something with a better body, more money. They're younger than them with a hotter girlfriend, better car. And men, you want to talk about social anxiety, when that's all you're exposed to on the internet, when you're only seeing people that live this high echelon of life and you're not living that, that puts you up. Like, I'd feel depressed and anxious if that's all I seen, but I'm very conscious to not put my attention towards shit like that.
See, and I can agree to that. And once people have a full understanding that people only post good times or their best times on social media, that's another reason why it don't really get to me, because I already know, like, if you get the best experience, right? When you see people that post all the good stuff, right, and you actually know them personally, you be like, that ain't really how you live, but I guess because you my boy.
It's a whole different world.
Yeah, it's a whole nother world.
You're just putting this facade on for everybody.
Exactly. So it's a lot of frauds on the internet.
Yeah, and I think there's actually so many frauds. Not only do people just post the best times of their life, but I think a lot of people will fake the shit they have. They fake that car. They go on vacation. They act like they're bouncing around from country to country or state to state.
Girl to girl.
They're living this great life. Yeah. So I think, man, one of the biggest things you guys can do, anybody listening, is quit watching shit like that. Quit putting your time and attention to things that are making you feel like shit internally.
Yeah.
Like, focus your time and attention onto things that are going to fortify your mind, better your life, give you beneficial information. People say, well, how did you do it? Everything I tell people is what I did. It's a conscious effort. Like, it's hard to get rid of those Instagram girls and all these good lifestyles. Yeah. It's like, you got to learn to just block that shit out. Not put your time and attention to that.
Change your timeline.
Exactly. Change it elsewhere. Put it, like, you go on any of my apps right now, it's going to be only things that are inspiring or beneficial or something that I can sit there and watch for 5 minutes and go, I learned something. Like, I've never heard that before.
Yeah, I see, and I could agree to that, man. My timeline's totally changed. Like, I tell certain people, I'm like, dog, you don't know how many girls I unfollow. If all you doing is on your story, if you drinking, all you do is smoke, you twerk, I cannot stand it. Especially from a woman, I cannot stand seeing a woman twerk. All you do is twerk. You don't do nothing productive, but even if you do something productive, you still be in the distraction. If that's all I see on my timeline, I'm going to unfollow it.
Yeah.
I'm tired of seeing the guns, posting the guns, and flashing money. Like, it's just, it's low IQ. It's a lot of low IQ things going on these timelines. And by you consuming it, you go self-consciously do it yourself. It's a whole cycle. And I don't want to be a part of that anymore. I want to be a part of something that's valuable. I want to leave my legacy behind. Like, this is what I did. You know, I just want to be a good example for the people.
I like that 100%. And I truly think that what you just said, you got these girls posting certain things and these guys posting certain things. I think that is a huge reason as to why the dating world nowadays is so
don't get me started on
it is so skewed. This dating world that I know, like you said, you got these female artists and rappers and whoever
Especially,
shaking ass, wearing damn near no clothing on the internet. It's like
man,
then you got these younger girls seeing these things,
they're
and then
consuming it.
they consume it, and they
Yeah.
just end up becoming a product of their environment and what they're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Likewise with the men, they see stupid shit of people throwing around guns and doing stupid shit, then they become a product of their environment.
Yep.
They become doing these things, and you know, I think that's why dating in 2024, 2025 coming up is
Ooh.
it's
terrible.
It's terrible. Like, what are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on dating here in 2024, man?
Let me tell you something, fellas. If if you want a good woman, get a passport. You want a good woman, get out of here. Go to the East and go get you a wife. It's too many masculine women here. All right. It's not just the black women. You know,
It's everybody.
it's
man.
everybody
It
at
is
this point.
everybody.
It's too much going on. You got high expectation with low what word I'm looking for? With low results. You know, like you don't bring nothing to the table. You want this and that, but you can't provide that in return.
100%,
You know what I mean?
100%.
So it's like just get a passport and get out of here, man. Unless you do find you something that's in the 1% and that's good for you. For real.
and they're out there.
Oh, they out there,
they're
but
out there. It's
it's
just
rare.
very rare.
It's rare. And the best way you could peep it out is look at her and her friends. Birds of a feather, they flock together, baby.
Damn
I'm
straight.
telling you, they flock together. You may be that good girl out that group, but you hanging with them. It's the same with the dudes. Like if I'm hanging around bums, I know I ain't a bum. I just came around temporarily. I look like them because I'm around them. So
Product of your environment.
exactly.
Eventually, you're gonna be that bird that comes and flocks with them.
Yeah,
Birds of a feather flock together, man. You're gonna end up joining them.
Exactly. So it's like, but for the dating, oh my God, I know so much stuff. Like, it's so many stories, man. It's just terrible. A lot of people get cheated on. It's people cheating on each other at the same time. Listen, I ain't gonna put that out there. You could go ahead.
Yeah, I think I get a lot of people asking me, I get girls asking me, where do I find a good man? I get guys asking me, where do I find a good girl?
You know what?
You can find them anywhere. I genuinely, I always say this, you can find a good guy or girl anywhere except a club or, in my opinion, a dating app. Because you're looking for it. You're looking at a picture. You're like, oh, she bad. I'm trying to tap. And then you're just swiping on her.
Yeah.
Or you're going to the club to try and find
No good
something.
intentions.
You
No
can
good
find a
intentions.
good guy or girl absolutely anywhere.
Yeah.
Except for one of those two things. And I think the main qualities and attributes you should check for, and this could go for anybody,
Yeah.
but especially for guys who are trying to find a good girl,
Mm-hmm.
a woman who has self-respect.
Yeah.
And that's a broad statement. So I'll dive into that. Self-respect meaning dress modestly. They don't
Yeah.
just post their whole body for everybody to see.
For validation.
The people they're around, exactly, for validation. They always need that male attention,
Yep.
like you just said earlier.
They love male attention. They crave
The
it.
friends they have. You look at
Yeah.
a girl's friends, that's going to tell you a lot about them.
Yeah.
What they like to do for fun.
Yeah.
Right? Do they like to go to the bar for fun? So having self-respect, right? Not just letting any dude get a conversation with her.
Yeah.
Not following a bunch of dudes, this and that. Another trait is somebody who is respectful to other people. I've met a lot of girls who are just disrespect. I don't know where this ego comes from, man. They are just disrespectful
Stay
to people.
friends. They
Whether it's on the
yeah.
phone with someone that they know and they're being disrespectful, the waiter is taking too long and they're talking shit. It's like, that's a turnoff. So really,
Yeah, for sure.
people don't like to look at the attributes and qualities someone brings to the table in
Yeah.
a relationship. They like to look at the body and the face and they go, that's what I want.
That's a 10.
And they get,
Come on.
Exactly. And they get walked over
Yeah.
by women. And it's mainly dudes because it's the dudes who don't have that many options with women. So as soon as one girl gives them a chance, man, they look past all the red flags and they just say, oh, she's bad, come my way. And they get walked over.
I'm telling you, it's so many, like I said, these past years, I conversated with attractive women who got bodies and stuff like that. That don't mean nothing to me. You could be pretty. It does not matter. I'm looking at you for who you are. I'm looking what you got to bring to the table. I'm looking at how you treat your peers or your family. Now, look, however they, like whatever relationship they got with their parents, that would tell you literally everything. Like,
it's a big one.
if she's very like humble, respects their parents, don't talk bad, don't cuss at them. I don't care how grown you are, you shouldn't do it. That's the things I look at in a woman, and it's like that's a lot, you know? Like that's something good to bring to the table. And you could trust her to go in public. You could go in public with her. Like
Exactly.
you said with the waiters, she could act a nut. Be like, oh, where's she at? Woo, woo. Cause she's so used to it at home. She grew up like
And
that.
that makes you look bad as a man. If
It
you bring a
makes you
girl
look
around
bad.
people like that and she's starting to be disrespectful, well,
Yeah.
now it's like, it's not a good look for you. Your girl's supposed to be able to elevate you and improve your
Yeah,
status.
for
You got
sure.
a good girl around you who dresses nice, talks nice, doesn't, go around cussing to everybody, being disrespectful. They're supposed to elevate your status. But a lot of times nowadays, it's the complete opposite. Girls just walk over their dudes and dudes let it happen.
Yeah. Or it be the dudes that's supporting it because they look, like you said, they look past all they bad flaws and they support it.
And I think a really good way to get out of that is to have respect for
For
yourself, man. Once you got respect for
Thank you,
yourself,
man.
dog, you ain't putting up with none of that shit. You're not putting up with a disrespectful female. You're not putting up with no disrespect, no promiscuous pictures and outfits and going out places. So you don't
Just
put up
stop
with
being a
that.
simp, man.
Stop being a
You
simp,
don't-
man. Have some respect, actually work on yourself, and maybe, just maybe then you can actually attract a girl. You won't even have to go out and look for her. They'll come to you. They'll be like, who's this fly ass dude? I wanna get in touch with him.
Yeah, for
So
real.
you'll attract a woman who has self-respect, who has these good qualities.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're talking to a girl, fellas, I don't care what age you are here, man, you got to sit there and look at her and say, would this be a good mother to my children?
Oh,
Would this be a good mother to my children? Because if not, if you're sitting there and you're like, kinda, but she has, if you're thinking about it,
oh
gone.
man. And I'm glad you touched bases on that. It's not about what you want and the looks of it, because like you said, if you got a bad girl by you, you look good, right? But like you said, you looking at what really matters. Is this woman gonna be a good, not only like a good mother to her son, or especially the daughter? Like, let me tell you something. I used to say, like, man, I'm scared to have a daughter. I'm so scared because I don't want her to be a certain way. And in order to avoid that, you got to pick the right woman and just go forward from there. Like,
Yeah,
just make
100%.
sure you choose the right woman and you got nothing to worry about.
It's how she brings the daughter up, and it's essentially you as well. It's how you guys parent the daughter or son to come up. And if you want to sit there and say, well, I don't want a daughter because she's gonna be a daughter, this and that, well, maybe you're just letting them get raised from social media, from other people. Because if you raise the kid right, that's not gonna happen.
Most definitely. Well, it was nice talking to you, man.
Hell yeah, man. We had some good
Talking
conversation.
to the public. Yeah, for sure, man. Hopefully later down the line we could have another episode here and there, man.
100%, man. We're
Because
gonna
it's
get
a
into
lot,
it.
like I said, it's a lot more I could like talk about.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's endless with
So
you.
many things we didn't unpack that we can still go into length at. So we'll definitely get something here going as
Yeah.
well.
Before it's time to end it, you want to shout your social media out, man?
Yeah, man. So it's pretty much just Jason Rao across all social medias. I got my Instagram. It's the Jason Rao. TikTok, Jason.Rao. YouTube is also just Jason Rao. So I got those 3 platforms as of right now.
Okay. And then for me, it's TheRealAnt 2X. And then I got my visual page, my business page. It's Ant Visuals with a 1 in it. And hopefully they don't shut down TikTok. But
Praying, man.
yeah, it's Ant48205 on TikTok. So y'all stay tuned, man, because most likely it's gonna be another episode.
Hell yeah, man.
That's dope. That's a good one.